The ICA approached me, I'd like to talk about music and politics, and I suggested, look, why not tie this in with the 30th anniversary of Infected?
Well, I said to Matt when I met him 3 years ago that anything he'd like to do here, we'd be very interested. He then decided that the 30 years of Infected, the fact that it hadn't been shown anywhere in all that time, was an opportunity, and we were very happy to have it here.
There was a lot of pressure on me to go on tour. I didn't want to go on tour. I hadn't played live for a couple of years, I suppose. As an answer to that, I thought about doing a full-length film, you know, a video for every single track.
He'd gone from being this sort of small indie thing to this bang, this massive, ambitious project. But it's there in the music. You know, you listen to those horns on Twilight of a Champion, and they're incredible, and it's a very ambitious piece. My job was to reflect the music, because all I ever do with my videos is I go in there and I re-describe the song.
Tim Pope came back with some very, very strong ideas, particularly Out of the Blue, which I think is my favourite video actually out the whole film.
We decided to shoot in a real brothel, but first of all we had to shoot in, I believe, Spanish Harlem. What we didn't realise is we were near the biggest crack dealer in New York, so it was a pretty unfortunate area for us to be in. I was standing there with my producer just as the sun was going down, and I was sensing a vibe. I was thinking this place is really, really edgy. And suddenly I'm standing there and this large rat, and this is not made up, it probably had been poisoned, came out and ran around in front of my feet and then fell on its back, had an epileptic fit, looked at me and died. So that was like the start of the evening.
One of the scenes, there's a little black lady that stood behind me, and she was a cleaner. She'd worked at the brothel for something like 40 years, but chronic heroin addict. But a lovely little lady. And I love the colours of what she's wearing with the colours of the wall and the framing. I think Tim did an absolutely fantastic job. When I saw that film for the first time, I was so blown away because it was shot on 35mm. Suddenly there was this cinematic experience.
We go into this poor guy's apartment, I mean, poor guy, it's probably still the same, and we had to buy all these cockroaches because I wanted the whole place to be flooded with cockroaches. I gave Matt a video camera, which I think was probably pretty out there in those days, and sort of goes through this whole thing through the apartment and shoves his head in the fridge, and that was all, you know, just very exciting stuff to do.
We did Infected and Mercy Beat in Iquitos and La Paz in Bolivia. We came across a big political rally. It was about 1,000 or so people that were very angry that they were marching through the streets. Sleazy was able to think on his feet, let's just keep filming, keep filming. That's possibly my second favourite video because it was so authentic.
Whereas, for instance, the convictions of the Islamic fundamentalists now, they actually want to die for what they believe, and they think it's a privilege to die for what they believe, and they think they bypass judgment.
Matt's prescience in terms of his political analysis, that section where he's talking about radical Islam and American foreign policy, I mean, you could be saying exactly the same thing today. And in fact, not many people were saying that in 1986.
I'm often accused of being anti-American, but I'm not. I'm anti-American foreign policy, which is very different.
In retrospect, we can see it to be even more important than it was at the time. As a piece of observational history, I think that's where it has a legacy that is much more important.
And I think it has a truth and an honesty to it. I think we should be really proud that we are talking 30 years later about the film.
In today's prices, Infected, looking at probably £3 million, £4 million, which was, for an artist that wasn't that known, it was an incredible amount of money in its day. You know, as I said, 62 musicians, 4 directors, massive crew going all over the world. It was a very unusual project.